What to know about GOP Firebrand Lauren Boebert ahead of Colorado's primary. Boebert has had narrow election victories and a year of personal trials. Tuesday's primary could determine whether the fiery far-right congresswoman goes back to Washington. Colorado Republican Rep. Lauren Boebert charged onto the political scene in 2020 as a young Second Amendment evangelist and quickly cemented her place on the Trump-worshipping altar of MAGA Republicans. Her last year has been particularly hectic, with a messy divorce, legal troubles for her son, a health scare requiring surgery for a blood clot, and a highly publicized incident in a Denver theater in which she was kicked out for causing a disturbance. Still, Boebert finds herself with an edge in a six-way Republican primary for Colorado's 4th Congressional District, leading the field in fundraising and enjoying the support of former President Donald Trump, House Speaker Mike Johnson, and the state party. Here's everything you need to know as voters in the heavily Republican district head to the polls on Tuesday. Boebert is best known for her advocacy on Second Amendment protections. After all, before being elected to Congress, she owned Shooter's Grill, a restaurant in Rifle, Colorado, where staff members were encouraged to carry firearms openly. Her touted priorities put her solidly in the far-right camp, focusing on issues like increasing border security, rolling back access to abortion, restarting construction of the Keystone XL pipeline, reining in taxes and spending, and prioritizing oversight and accountability of the Biden administration. To that end, Boebert introduced articles of impeachment against President Joe Biden last year in response to his handling of the migrant crisis on the U.S.-Mexico border. The House voted to refer the articles of impeachment to the Homeland Security Committee and the Judiciary Committee for further inquiry, where they currently remain. When it comes to veterans and the military, Boebert was criticized for opposing the PACT Act, a bill that expanded benefits for millions of veterans in the post-9/11 era who were exposed to toxic burn pits and are suffering illnesses as a result. And she voted against major infrastructure legislation that ended up sending $20 million to her district for projects related to infrastructure and water. Though she's a vocal supporter of Israel, Boebert takes an isolationist stance when it comes to foreign policy, opposing aid packages and preferring to withdraw support from international allies. When Boebert was first elected to Congress in 2020, Colorado's Republican-leaning 3rd Congressional District covered almost the entire western half of the state, including both the upscale mountain town of Aspen as well as sprawling cattle ranches. The boundaries of the district shifted following the 2020 U.S. Census and realignment of congressional districts, losing some Republican stronghold counties and gaining some Democratic ones. In 2022, Boebert was expected to win her re-election bid by wide margins, but ended up eking out a win by just 546 votes against Democrat Adam Frisch, former Aspen City Council member. Frisch ran as a common-sense moderate and nabbed the endorsement of the Republican that Boebert defeated during the GOP primary. For a solidly red district, Boebert's near loss was significant and spoke to a rebuke of Trump's brand of republicanism in a state where conservatives have long been independent and rejected extreme candidates and the type of groupthink that tends to propel them to Congress. Frisch announced plans to challenge Boebert again and began outraising her almost instantly. As a result, Boebert announced at the end of last year that she would instead be running for election in Colorado's 4th District, which is more solidly Republican. Boebert arrived to Congress as an outspoken outsider, a QAnon conspiracy theorist who hitched her star to Trump to gain influence and relevance, and has earned her reputation as a rabble-rouser and troublemaker. Hours before Trump supporters attacked the Capitol to interfere with the certification of the election, she tweeted that today is 1776, and when it came time for her to certify the election, she refused, choosing instead to claim without evidence that the election was stolen. Days after the attack, she fought with Capitol police officers after refusing to walk through metal detectors as she attempted to enter the building with a firearm. She suggested that a Muslim member of Congress was a terrorist and regularly posts anti-LGBTQ comments on social media. In 2022, she interrupted Biden during his latest State of the Union address, shouting over him as he mentioned the death of his son, a military veteran who died from brain cancer. Biden was in the middle of announcing a new plan to provide health care and disability compensation for military members who've become ill due to breathing in toxic smoke from burn pits.